Well, guys, like Paul said, we just wanted to take a few minutes today. He's going to go over some really cool things that we've been working on here in a few minutes to help you guys out. We felt like it was important that you guys had all the help you can get, and Paul's going to take a few minutes to talk about that. But before he goes into it, I wanted to take, maybe 5 minutes and share a couple things with you that I was thinking about to kind of open up the meeting. A quick little, maybe 2 stories. This first one's a letter that I have. It's actually pretty old. I got this letter, it was back when I was trying to go through college. I was working in an airport trying to make some money. And when you work at an airport, fueling planes and things, you have to go through this training with like fire department and different things like that. In the training manual, they had this story. And it's titled, the story's titled, Trying to Do the Job Alone. Okay? It says, Dear Sir, I'm responding to your request for additional information regarding how my recent injury occurred. So this is a guy writing a letter to an insurance company. Okay, he says, in block number 3 of your accident report form, I put trying to do the job alone as the cause of my accident. You said in your letter that I should explain more fully. I trust that the following details will be sufficient. I'm a bricklayer by trade. On the day of the accident, I was working alone on the roof of a new 6-story building. When I completed my work, I discovered that I had about 500 pounds of brick left over. Rather than carry the bricks down by hand, I decided to lower them in a barrel by using a pulley, which fortunately was attached to the side of the building at the 6th floor. Securing the rope at the ground level, I went up to the roof, swung the barrel out, and loaded the bricks into it. Then I went back to the ground and untied the rope, holding it tightly to ensure a slow descent of the 500 pounds of bricks. You will note in block number 2 of the accident report form that I weigh 135 pounds. Due to my surprise at being jerked off the ground so suddenly, I lost my presence of mind and didn't let go of the rope. Needless to say, I proceeded at a rather rapid rate up the side of the building. In the vicinity of the 3rd floor, I met the barrel coming down. This explains my fractured skull and collarbone. Slowed only slightly, I continued my rapid ascent, not stopping until the fingers of my right hand were 2 knuckles deep into the pulley. Fortunately, by this time I had regained my presence of mind and was able to hold tightly to the rope in spite of my pain. At approximately the same time, however, the barrel of bricks hit the ground and the bottom fell out of the barrel. To avoid the weight of the bricks, the barrel then weighed approximately 50 pounds. I refer you again to the information in block number 2. As you might imagine, I began a rapid descent down the side of the building. In the vicinity of the 3rd floor, I met the barrel coming up. This accounts for the 2 fractured ankles and lacerations of my legs and lower body. The encounter of the barrel slowed me enough to lessen my injuries when I fell onto the pile of bricks, and fortunately, only 3 vertebrae were cracked. I'm sorry to report, however, that as I lay in pain on the bricks, unable to stand, and watching the empty barrel 6 stories above me, I again lost my presence of mind and let go of the rope. The empty barrel weighed more than the rope, so it came down upon me and broke both my legs. I hope I've furnished the additional information you required as to how the accident occurred. So, the point of it, like it says at the end, one of the lines at the end is, although amusing, this letter makes painfully clear the problem with trying to do the job alone. That kind of leads me to my next little story that I wanted to share. When I was, most of you guys know that I love flying airplanes. That's kind of something that I like to do. Well, one of the first things you do when you fly, you have to do your first solo. At least after you've gone through a certain amount of training, they kind of say, all right, go time, right? Let's see if you can pull this off without dying. So I went through training with my dad, and this was a spring day, a lot like today. We went out to the airport, just a normal day. I didn't know what to expect, going through some more training. And we got in the airplane, took off, was flying around the pattern, doing some touch and goes and kind of getting comfortable. And as I made my last landing, and as you guys know, I had been flying for years and years and years before I actually tried to get my license. So I kind of came down and landed the plane, and my dad told me to kind of pull off to the edge of the taxiway. So I kind of pulled over to the edge, and he kind of leaned over, and he said, "Okay, I want you to take off again, stay in the pattern, come around and land, and just do everything like you've learned, over the years." So I always flew next to my dad as I grew up. So anyway, the engine's still running. He pops the door open, hops out on the wing, and over the noise of the engine, he sticks his head back in and says, "Remember what I taught you." and slammed the door, shut it, and I thought, man, okay, this is it. Time for the solo. So I thought, okay, I got this. I've been doing it forever. I taxied back out, got on the runway, did my checks, took off, stayed in the pattern, beautiful, everything was great. Kind of came around, and as I came onto the left side of the pattern, I made my call, Cherokee 04 Juliet, left downwind, runway 34, made my turn, and as I was coming on to final, I realized it kind of hit me. I'm like, I'm alone. If something doesn't go right, if anything goes wrong, my dad's not sitting next to me anymore. I'm by myself. Nobody's there to help me anymore. And just this fear kind of came over me. It was just terrifying. I thought, this plane, it's got to come down. Either I'm going to put it down right, or it's coming down one way or another. And so I kind of had to think about it, but I'm coming in, the runway's coming up, and I'm doing all my checks and doing everything, and suddenly I heard this voice over the radio kind of come in, and I heard my dad's voice, and he said, "Son, looks good. Everything looks great. You're doing perfect." And I looked over my windshield, and I could see my dad way down on the ramp down there, and he had a handheld radio. He'd kind of come out on the runway to kind of watch me. And I kind of felt this peace. I realized that I wasn't alone, and I brought that plane in, landed it smooth as could be, and everything went great. I guess the reason I wanted to share those stories with you is the point I'm getting at with all this is that you guys are in that airplane, and sometimes some of the newer people here might feel like you're all alone in that airplane on that solo. But as Paul's going to talk with you about this, you're not alone. There's people there, and those people down on that ramp, it may not be my dad. Maybe for you guys, it's your team leader, the Damons, the Nates. Maybe it's Paul down on that ramp watching you. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's Aaron. But there's people down there that want to make sure that you do okay, and they're looking out for you, and you're not alone. And we want you to know that there's people there to turn to. So many things there to help you guys out. We want you to use them. So many people there to help you fly that plane right, and make sure that you land it safe and that you get where you want to be. So with that little thing, I want to go ahead and turn the time over to Paul for these next 20 minutes or so, and he's going to share some cool things with you that are some things that we've done to help you listen to that radio a little bit better, tune into the right frequency, and be aware so you can land that plane smoothly every single day and hit the numbers that you need to hit when you're flying that plane. Okay?
Now, let's hear it for Josh. I want to be like Josh Christopherson. I love him. I love his passion. I love his enthusiasm. You never see him walking in the office slowly. He's always got a pace about him, and he's always got a smile on his face. And Josh, you're a great example for all of us, and we really appreciate your leadership and comments today.